Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Eljay Johnsen Show. This show airs every single Saturday, every weekend at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless specified otherwise over on Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Tuesday. And if you have any questions over the week, make sure you head on over to my email, ljjohnson. Yeah, nuts! I'd gone so many weeks without screwing that up. ljjohnson@gmail.com, where you can ask questions, and it's a really good place for me to organize all of them and make sure I have them on hand, which include the questions we have this week. Okay, so first things first, sincerest apologies not only to my guest, but to everyone who was looking forward to the show earlier in the day. That's on me. It's my bad. Things got messy. No excuses, but there's your reasoning. My apologies. So, that out of the way, I'm very excited for my next guest. I've actually worked alongside her indirectly on many, many different projects. As you all know, I try very hard to find as many Leela roles as I possibly can. And in this instance, my guest finds as many Gali roles as she possibly can. She's a writer. She's a VA. She does so many things. It's Leena Valtapaz. How you doing?
I'm doing great. That was a really nice intro.
I
Except
tried.
it's actually pronounced Valtapaz, but
Son of a gun! I knew it. I knew it. I thought, nah, I got this down. That seems relatively straightforward. But nope, I was wrong.
well, I mean, it's a common mistake. I mean, at some point, someone mispronounced my name as Vaptez.
What?
Exactly.
That's a stretch.
It's like they spelled it as Vaptez.
I can't. I mean, I don't understand how people can do that. At the same time, people call me Elijah, and I can't figure that out either. So
What?
I know it's the spelling's right there. They'll add like another I. I mean, I know why they do it, because the L and the J, the lowercase L and J next to each other, makes it look a
Yeah.
little bit like an I. I understand, but there's no H. Everyone can tell there's no H. Goodness.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, why?
I digress. How have things been with you? How's the weather?
Oh, the weather has been nice, except the weather outside is frightful, as it always is in February.
It's
But
not it's not December. Sorry. Christmas songs
fine.
are no longer in season.
Okay, if you don't want Christmas songs, then I can do super early Easter songs.
Wait,
Just like every superstore ever does.
there are Easter songs?
I don't know. Maybe.
I, if there are, I swear to you, I've never heard them.
They're probably like little kindergarten songs like this is the Easter song, something like that. I don't know.
I mean, they wouldn't let me in the kindergarten after the incident, so I don't
Mm.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, don't worry, those deaths had nothing to do with you.
that's what they tell me. So, disclaimer, everyone. Nothing happened. I've never been to kindergarten. Kindergarten. Fudge! I can't even say it right. But I digress. So let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of the subject today. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us how you got into Lego, into Bionicle, and eventually into the community.
Okay, so LJ has all I almost said Lewa already. LJ
Perfect.
has already yes.
I'll take that.
Okay, so yeah. So I got into Lego at around like 2008 or something when I was 6 years old or something. But I wasn't really interested in Lego in particular. I just really liked the Bionicle website because my older brothers were always playing the online games and reading the online serials or something like that. But I was just so into the games. It was so fun. I was so terrible at it, but I still loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As most do, yes.
hmm
Okay.
And
So you
as the
that was your introduction to
yeah,
Lego generally.
yeah, I only got serious about it in the G2 update, which is why I'm so, you know, exponentially um
Attached.
enthusiastic about it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
attached.
Okay. Okay. And so what would you say was your introduction to the overall community? Because I know you have family members who also do things in the community, specifically over in the
Mm,
BCC. All of them are good people,
oh
by the way.
yeah.
Um, but what was your introduction to things?
Huh. It was probably with the introduction to G2 and stuff because at that time I'd just recently gotten a Google Plus account and I looked up Bionicle communities because there's got to be one of them. And sure enough, I found many of them. And yeah, that's basically how I made my first internet friends, which is pretty cool. We've been in a tight friend circle with a lot of people. So, yeah.
Fair enough. That's impressive. If you can have a tight knit group of people with a lot of folks in it, that's a
Yeah.
difficult thing to accomplish. Cough, cough, TTV. But well, in that case, I have to ask: what are your thoughts on the inevitable destruction of Google Plus?
Yeah, I've mostly like migrated my stuff over, but I still like I don't know. I feel like the Google Plus team could have done something different rather than just take it away. Why not just like improve it or not just improve it, but remove all the trolls or something or just make it less terrible. I don't know.
I don't know personally. I heard that the reason they were canning it was because it wasn't getting a lot of traffic to begin with, but then also there was the massive security breach
Oh
controversy.
yeah, security breach. Yeah.
So that came out, and they were like, "Well, okay, this just didn't work out, so we're just gonna can the entire thing."
Yeah, and then they're like, okay, but there's a new Google Plus that requires a monthly subscription and it's called Google Suite.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, apparently like people can post stuff on a social media like app, but it's talking directly to Google employees and giving them feedback on their products or something like that.
And you
It's
have to
something stupid.
pay for it.
Yes, it's like a monthly subscription thing, and I'm just like, what? Why? That destroys the point.
Not only that, I don't really like to give my money to Google to begin with. Why would
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. Nope. I'm gonna pass. I mean, I was gonna pass already, but I'm gonna extra pass on that. That's a mess. So, when it comes to being in the Bionicle community, what are some experiences and observations that you've made over the years since earlier on? Because you were at the tail end of G1, and obviously
Yeah.
you've been very involved in Generation Two and what happened. So, what are your experiences and observations since that point in time? Since when Bionicle was still around, the interim around, and then the interim after.
Okay. Well, I mean, I remember being with around my family. It was 2014, August or something, and we were hanging out, and Lego was going to announce something, and it was counting down in the form of like images of bricks saying numbers or whatever.
I
And
remember that.
yeah, we were like jumping around with glee, and my brother happened to click on the image and look at the URL, and one of the names in there was Bionicle, and every single kid in the house was like jumping around with delight, and just it was an amazing moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can understand. I remember when the news first broke, like very early on. It was just kind of a whirlwind of events happening very fast, and then they made that
Oh
announcement.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
from a community perspective, what would you say the greatest changes were?
Hmm. Okay, this is gonna sound really wrong, and people are probably gonna take it the wrong way, but it's after G2 ended. Because with that tied the fans in closer together than ever because Lego officially said that Bionicle is in the hands of the fans now, and the fans really took that to heart. I mean, there have been more fan films and fan animations and fan creations in general. There have been more of those than ever. So, I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm sad that G2 officially ended, but with all the fan creations that are out there, I think it's a pretty fair bargain.
Interesting. So, you'd say you're content with it just being more of a fan-based community, just focusing more on the creative aspect as opposed to waiting tooth and nail for what Lego has to announce.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have anything else to announce, so why would I keep on, like, listening to them or whatever?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Interesting. Okay. Now you do a lot of projects yourself as well. Um, Specifically in the form, obviously enough, we've discussed your voice acting, which we'll get more to in a second to here. Um, but you do a lot of other videos as well. It looks like you have a lot of just kind of casual, fun content that you do on your channel. What are those like?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's actually pretty stressful sometimes because I mean, especially recently, I've gotten into college now and working on what video to upload while still trying to balance my college work is pretty
Mm-hmm.
extreme balance because sometimes I don't know, it's just yeah. And the videos, I think the reason why they look so casual is because I'm not putting much effort into them because I don't really have the time for that anymore. Over the summer, I'm definitely going to make more stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's basically why my videos are more lazy than usual right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's something to be said for kind of kickback, casual, just videos for the fun of it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Instead of videos that are, you're trying to follow a schedule. There's a grind. You have to get a video out in a certain time frame or so on and so forth. That can be strenuous, put
Yeah,
lightly.
well, I mean, it's more like both of those at the same time because I upload one video every Wednesday with the quality and length varying greatly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I understand. But hey, having fun with things is always good. And do you get what what is the feedback like? Do you get people that are just kind of like, well, I'd like to see this, or people that are like, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I really like this. This was a fun, casual time. I'm gonna come back for more.
yeah, it's more like that kind of thing. They don't really ask for much stuff except for like mostly random things like, "Hey, uh are you still alive?" or well, not necessarily that kind of stuff since I'm very much alive, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more just stuff like I don't know how to describe it.
Maybe just asking to be more active, because
Yeah.
I know you do a lot of different things on your channel. The one that I remember off the top of my head would be music videos.
Yeah, I did that a lot when I was just starting out my channel. I basically never do those anymore. But
Okay.
yeah, I did those in the past.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Now, obviously enough, you don't just do those kinds of videos. Let's go ahead and get into some of the other projects you work on. The aforementioned voice acting, and I know you do writing as well, which we'll get into. But yes, voice acting. Obviously enough, you have made it a goal of yours to voice Gali in as many things as possible. I think you've definitely accomplished this because usually, like,
Yeah.
there are usually some people in the community that I think of them and I'm like, yeah, no, I think of them voicing that character. Um, like Onua in my head is a gentleman who works on a project that we've both worked on. Um, and he has a like just really deep, rumbly voice, and his delivery is just it's so good. Um, but for me, when I think of Gali, it's like, oh yeah, Leena, of course.
Really?
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
had
You're like
no
the
idea.
first person that comes to mind. So,
Wow.
so in that same vein, how did you get into voicing all these different Gali roles, and how did you really get into contributing and being a part of all these different voice projects?
That is a really good question.
I try.
Well, my first Gali role was, I think it was in a series from a friend of mine, Bionicle Resurrection. Um, it was back in March of 2017, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just gotten a new microphone, which I still hold to this day. I'm actually using it right now. And from there, someone asked me, "Hey, I saw your role for Gali in this, and I really like it. Could you voice Gali in this?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And that was the Bionicle motion comics, which I'm really happy to be in.
Yeah, that was the one that always sticks out to me. I've talked about the that project a few different times before, but for anyone unfamiliar, there's a YouTube channel, a fellow named Toa Tapayo Nuva, who I know him from BZ Power, back in the very late 2000s, early 2010s. Well, no, mid to late 2000s. We're talking 2005 onward. I was a huge fan of his sprite pixel comics on BZ Power. Like, he was one of my favorite authors at the time. So it comes
Wait,
full.
that was him?
Yeah, yeah, that was
Oh
him.
wow!
So all comes full circle. He's like, wow, I can't believe it. He's still around doing stuff. But over on his YouTube channel, he does a series. They are Bionicle motion comics, and so it's all the comics, and they're fully voice acted, and they're really fun. They are quite enjoyable to watch and be a part of.
Wow, nice.
But yeah, no. So it's a very fun project, and yeah, you're galling that. The fellow who I really like is Onua is in that as well, and it's really cool.
Oh, nice. That is really nice.
Yeah. So from there, where did things take you after that?
Hmm. Well, from there, the fact that I voiced Gali in two different projects really kind of kicked off my Gali career, I guess, because someone else saw me and was like, "Hey, can you voice Gali in my series?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And the funny thing is, in that series, then my Gali voice for that version of Gali is completely different because usually with Gali, then my voice is all the way down here like this to represent her role in Mask of Light. But with the other Gali, this is G2 Gali, so I have to make her voice really high like this.
Oh no.
Yeah, I tried to make it represent her Journey to One voice. The impression I did earlier was terrible, by the way. It's
That's
usually better.
hmm
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize there was a dichotomy there because I have a similar issue. The only thing is I really don't like what people ask me to do for Liwa when they try and have me do his movie voice. Ugh.
Yeah. It's like I don't know what the original voice actor for Leo was even trying with that. I mean,
I know what he was trying.
is Leo what was he trying? A tree hippie?
Um, kind of, because the whole Liwa's really weird in Mask of Light because not only is okay, what he was trying to do, because obviously the voice actor was directed to do this, so it was the idea of the filmmakers. And I've heard the guy in other stuff. He's fine in other stuff. He has a really great range. He's a very prolific voice actor. The problem with his Liwa voice is he was directed to make him sound like he lived in the trees, like his head was in the clouds, and he was a little bit Irish. Just a smidge. Just a tiny amount. So not only does he sound really, really wispy and ancient, but then you have a little bit of Irish. Wind fly, sand twister! When you're with me, there'll be no foot walking, just air flying. And it sounds awful. I can't stand it. It's just such a. It's not good for Liwa. Liwa sounds young and jovial.
Yeah, I mean
and,
that's yeah, that sounds more like an impression of Ikimu than an impression of Liwa.
it's terrible. I can't stand it.
Yes.
But I didn't realize that people asked you to do variations on Gali.
Yeah, but I don't mind them so much. Because they all kind of have their little perks because with Gali then her voice is very forceful and I can do various things with that. With her G2 voice, then I can do a really large range with her voice. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and with some voices, then I just go my own way and sort of do a mix of both.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that's even possible, because it's hard to do a voice between a really low voice and a really high voice, so it's really hard to find a balance between that. I think I ended up doing a sort of mid-range, semi-high voice, but I'm still forcing out the words. I don't remember how I did it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because yeah, I wasn't as accustomed to that. Because I know, oh gosh, what? There's another project you're in that I'm familiar with you being in, but I don't remember what it is. It's not the Bionicle Motion Comics. It's someone else.
I was in Bionicle Reiterated, but I did not voice Gali. I voiced Korgot, the Protector of Earth.
That's
And
right. That's right.
oh yeah. Um, I didn't. I sort of tried to do a Gali G1 impression, but I made it a little bit different to make it like not exactly the same. And oh no, Korgot's secretly Gali G1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I decided to make it similar by having the forcefulness of her voice, but not make it as forceful. Maybe turn the pitch up a little. But yeah,
Okay. Interesting. That's a fascinating, unique take that I hadn't actually considered.
Hmm.
So right now, are you looking for any more galley roles, or are there any projects that you're interested in being a part of?
huh. Well, I'm not actively searching out Gali roles, but I am looking around and like if someone asks me, "Hey, can you voice Gali in this?" and I'm like, "Sure." I mean, unless it has swearing or something, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've actually had to turn down some roles because of that. Um, yeah, I've also had to turn down roles for other reasons. Some involved swearing, like I said earlier. Another one, then one of the requirements in order for me to voice the character was 10 to 15 seconds of screaming like you're being mauled apart.
Okay, that's awfully specific and a
Yeah,
tad
and
peculiar.
I have multiple siblings like in the house all the time, so I'm like, are you sure you want me to do that?
They're gonna come in and be like, "What's going on?" Oh,
Yeah,
just reading a line.
I actually messaged the guy about it. He was like, "Go ahead, give him a scare."
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did not. And sometimes with a role I have to turn down, then sometimes it's just a badly written character. It's
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, it's pretty cringy sometimes.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Speaking of writing, you actually do writing as well. This is one of the projects that you do, I believe, yourself. If you'd like, go ahead and kind of elaborate on what that is.
Ah, well, I started writing fan fiction and stuff, like Bionicle fan fiction at I think I was like 13 or something. But I actually got good at it, I think at least. Um last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually when I started writing um a story called The Winds of Change, which is a story I have it's the first story I've actually finished in a long, long while. So I'm actually really happy that that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Or like it's finalized and it exists. But yeah, I was so happy about it that I decided, hey, you know what? I'll make an audiobook out of that to make sure that all my YouTube followers know about it too. So I put up a project and a lot of people have auditioned, way more than I expected.
That's
And
fantastic.
it is, yeah. The only roles that I need to be cast right now are an elderly Akotan, a Tahu, a Tahu, Tahu, and hint, hint, nudge, nudge, not nudging, but actually nudging Liwa.
Oh man. Well, I hope someone picks those roles up. That sounds. It's definitely a bit of a challenge. Hopefully, you'll find someone to play all those characters. I don't know anyone who's all too well versed in either of them, any of them. Sorry, I don't know any elderly people in the Bionicle community, and no Tahus and no Leewas. Sorry. Hey, whoa, wait a second. Okay, yeah. I think we'll have to discuss that then. I think I might know a guy. For Tahu, of course.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, that sounds great. Yeah, I read the first chapter and then got swept away by a tsunami of work and other projects. So I haven't been able to read too far in. But the first chapter is a lot of fun. It seems, what was this? It's centered around Generation 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It takes place after the Skull Raider thing in book 3 of the official series, but before they get their armor. So like they're still in their like 2015 I almost said suits, armor.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay, so it's the interim between 2015 and 16.
Yeah. And on the Bionicle website before it went down, then it was actually described that the Toa protected Akoto, quote, for many years. So I figured, hey, how about this be one of the years in which this story takes place?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was immensely perplexed, because it said many years. Was many years 1.5? That, it's not what I would call many years, but maybe we have different ideas on what time should be.
Maybe. I mean, maybe what happened was the Toa just fell into a deep coma for a bunch of years and protected it while they were unconscious or something, and then I don't know.
It's weird.
Maybe time is relative, and 1 year on Akoto is like 12 days on Earth or something, and so it looks like it takes place in 1.5 years, but it actually takes place in a shorter time. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the best you can do. In the YouTube chat, Genericon says maybe they meant months. Well, that's certainly possible, but that's not what they said.
Yeah.
One of those things. What was your reaction to how the entirety of Generation 2 was handled?
Well, I wasn't really paying attention to how it was handled because I was just so happy that it was just there in general.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they didn't go far enough. Like, they weren't in any financial trouble at the time, and G1 saved them, so they put a lot of effort into it. But G2, they didn't need any saving, so they were just, hey, let's save money and just say, okay, here's a cash grab for the fans. Ta-da! It's Bionicle and it's back, right?
Yeah.
And the fans were just like, no.
Yeah, no, you could have done better, Lego. You know?
Yeah. What you doing, Lego?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, a lot of people were immensely disappointed with some of the directions they took it, and I know that there were many flubs, and it was a lot of fun to mock, but at the same time, it was somewhat indicative of the headspace that they had at the time.
Yeah. Something that I do like, was that the story was actually so empty because there are all sorts of unanswered questions that the fans themselves can answer. They can just sew in little patches of what happened into their own mythos.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel Bionicle really is about. It's letting the fans shine and opening their creativity, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. That's a lot of the reason that I really enjoy Bionicle 2001, because it's such a sandbox. There's just so much you did not see, like X Toa getting Y Mask, or Y Taraga going on an adventure with B Toa, and so on and so forth. So you can just kind of craft your own stories, and that emptiness is a really good part. It really adds to the atmosphere. So I agree. I think that is a good aspect, in a sense.
Yeah. The only thing that I Yeah, the reason why I don't write G1 fan fiction at all is because there is so much story in it that I feel like if I write anything in it, there'll be some sort of canon facts that I hadn't accounted for that'll like tear it down. And while I know that fan fiction will never be canon unless it's no one gets left behind, cough
Yeah.
cough, then I just want there to be I don't know, it feels more like I can accept something as canon if it's, not if there's nothing to disprove it, you know?
I can see where you're
Because I
coming
mean,
from.
yeah, there's no proof that it didn't happen, so who's to say it didn't?
Yeah, I think a lot of people they use the phrasing or the term headcanon in a way. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people will often say, I'm one of obviously Generation One. Love isn't canon. Um, you'll hear a lot of people say that. Greg has said it. I say it often. But when it comes to fan fiction and fan creations, I feel like it's perfectly acceptable to just go bye bye and just do fun things with it. Just do whatever you will. You know?
Yeah. I think maybe the reason why I do write G2 fan fiction is because love is canon there.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, they did canonize that. That's
Yeah.
why I'm a G1er.
And that's why I'm a G2er. That sounded stupid.
And G1er sounds dumb anyway. I remember back when Generation 1 was still, it was like the only one. People would call those that came in from 2001 to 2003 G1ers. So 2001 to 2003 was what usually people who are trying to attack others or be detractors, they would say, "Oh, you got into Bionicle during the first 3 years. You're a G1er. I got in 2009, so I'm a
G9er.
I guess I don't know. They weren't all that
I'm
specific.
a Boramagnan.
It was weird, but now
Ew.
we can sum it all up. Generation 1 is just all the first wave, and they're the first run, and then Generation 2 is a year and a half. But still, it works out. So, when it comes to writing the story, you said Winds of Change was its title, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things that you. What were some of the challenges you ran into writing it, and what were some of the things that were kind of unexpected to you? Like, you were writing it and going, all right, so how am I going to do this? Oh, interesting, that's how.
Oh, that's actually a really interesting question with probably a longer story behind it.
Go for it.
So, at some point, I looked at my old writing and I was like writing a list and stuff, handwriting it, and I was like, my handwriting is terrible. So, to improve my handwriting, I decided to make a challenge. So, I bought a notebook and I just started writing. I wrote the first page of The Winds of Change, and I decided to make a. I already said I decided to make a challenge. I wrote the date of the entry, and the next day I turned the page and wrote another page. And then the next day I did. And it became a challenge where I have to write one page of a story every single day until I'm finished. And I think that's the only way that I was able to finish the story.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you just continued to write.
Yeah, and then I converted it to digital and copy edited that thing later.
Okay, I cannot imagine how much time that part of the process took. It
Oh
sounds
yeah. Oh yeah. I had
like
to like open the book and type with one hand. It was so long. I was so happy once I finished that. And then I had to edit the thing.
mm-hmm.
Fix all the little typos I'd done in my handwriting and just fix some random continuity errors like, hey, if Kopaka said this, then what's he doing over here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of being aware of where the characters are positioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you were writing it, what was one of your favorite aspects that came out of the process?
Hmm. I think it was the characterization with spoken through the dialogue. For example, I wanted to do some main things. For example, Onua is a cute little cinnamon roll. Um, Liwa is playful and innocent, though sometimes not as innocent as some people assume him to be.
Accurate. Also
Um,
the best, but continue.
um, Pohatu is an Aussie, no exceptions.
Crikey.
And, yes. And Tahu, um, with Tahu, I decided, okay, you know what? It'd be really in character for me to have him give nicknames to all of his teammates when he's frustrated. So, for example, with Kopaka, he'd probably call him like Blizzard Breath or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes less clever stuff like calling Liwa Plant Face or something like that. Or Pohatu Pebblehead.
Oh,
That's
I
one of
like
my
that one.
favorites. Yeah.
I feel like that. Ooh, I can call my younger brother that. Thank you. That's a good one. All right. Continue, please.
All right. Um, I don't. Ironically enough, I don't like writing Gali. I love it when other people write her, but I just don't like writing her myself because there are so many interpretations of her, and I'm just really worried about like getting her wrong and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put her in as few scenes as humanly possible, and I just constantly make up excuses for her to not be there.
Hmm. So what I gather from that is you hate women. Got it. I understand. I see where this is going. The Eljay Johnsen Show does not condone the opinions or no I'm kidding. But yeah, interested. See, I don't write, or at least I try not to write very often. But I can always kind of characterize the Toa, those original 6 Toa. Obviously not the G2 characters as well. But how would you describe Gali? What would your summarization of her character be?
Hmm. Well, in her 2015 animations video, when she says, "I am Gali, my voice is as deep as the oceans," or sorry, I mean, my courage is as deep as the oceans, then her I kind of took the fact that she has courage as deep as the oceans to heart, so I decided to make her just overall brave.
Mm-hmm.
And in the darkest of situations, she's confident and going in front of things despite being afraid. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't really know what else to use to describe her because, like I said, I do not like writing her at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But I've only gotten through the first chapter. Did you keep her most defining character trait from Generation 2? Her really good bad
Um,
jokes?
I at some point I think I'm not sure. Not in this story, I believe, but I did do some jokes in other stories. For example, at some point, there's someone who's talking about how his mentor taught him to make maps and guides and stuff, and she says, "Oh, you could say he guided you through it," and the guy just groans.
All right, so long as that character trait is retained,
Yes.
we're all good. Fair
I should
enough.
have made more jokes in this story.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say the most challenging aspect of creating not only a story but then going through it was outside of the challenge that you set before yourself? What was the most from a writing perspective, a storytelling perspective?
Hmm. Do you mean like
So, for
could you like
instance, like
elaborate on that a little?
uh, developing situations that then would progress an overarching story. Like when it came
Oh,
to Winds of Change, coming up with the
okay.
the not the setting, but the situations and then
Okay, and
continuing
like
that
building
story.
up on those and stuff. Okay,
Yes.
I see what you mean. Um, it came to me fairly naturally. For example, when I'm sometimes I put in random little notes in random spots, and then when I'm writing a future scene, I look back and say, hey, I could make a reference to this note that I did back there. So it's sort of making references in advance.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sometimes I make real world references. Um, for example, someone at some point in a future chapter references Gali's voice being really high pitched, which references Journey to One because why not?
Fair enough. I see. Yeah, it was a little higher in Journey to One, and then Liwa. Actually, I'm getting off track. But yeah, I see. Now, the story you said it was complete. Is that right?
Yes, it is complete.
Are there any plans for a sequel?
That is actually a really good idea. I never thought of that.
Well, enjoy writing. No, okay. Enjoy the next 10 more chapters you have to do now. I'll take royalties. No, but that's that. All right. So then we can anticipate the possibility in that case.
Yeah, I'm not counting that out, definitely.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
I probably won't get to it, but if I do, I will definitely let people know.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. In that case, last question on this subject before we move into listener questions. Do you have any advice for anyone who is interested in getting involved in not only fan fiction generally, but specifically Bionicle and Lego fan fiction?
Ah. Well, I'd advise looking at the description of the fanfic. If the description is good, doesn't have any spelling errors, but also if it's well written in general, click on it. Because if the description doesn't interest you, chances are the book won't either. But also make sure that the plot or the description doesn't line out the entire plot, unless it's like a short fluff fanfic or something. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if it lays out the entire story for you, you don't need to read it.
Yeah, that's fair. So send out a good hook.
Yes. I've often struggled with doing a good hook myself.
Yeah, it
But
happens.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. In that case, Lena, would you like to answer some questions from people listening?
Sure.
All right, fantastic. In that case, to everyone listening right now in the YouTube live chat, feel free to go ahead and ask any questions you may have. In the meantime, we do have an email question.
All right.
So this comes from Crexa Prime,
Nice.
and Crexa's questions are as follows. First, what are some steps that you've taken that have helped you to become a better voice actress?
Hmm. Well, as a birthday present, I swear this is related. Then I got some online voice acting lessons, and those really helped. But also, when I look at animated TV shows, I specifically look at the voice actors and their techniques. And I think to myself, okay, with this, then I have a feeling the person was waving their hands around while they were voice acting. So if they're going, "I'm coming to get you," that was terrible, by the way. Then they're probably like moving their arms as if they're running. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do the same thing if a similar situation comes up for one of my lines.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also true for movies too. I look at the actions and I look at the tonality of their voice, and I'm like, okay, for their voice to be like that, they did this action over here. So if I can replicate that, then I can replicate that sound effect.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. The the motions of the body influence how the voice sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do that not only when I'm actually trying to voice act, but when I'm just talking normally. Like right now, I'm just moving my hands
Yeah.
as I would if I'm having just a face-to-face conversation. So,
Huh.
yeah, no,
Yeah, same here.
that's really good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Thanks.
we kind of touched upon this earlier, but I'll go ahead and ask it again. How were you first introduced to Bionicle?
Hmm. Well, I was, like I said, I was introduced to it in 2008, but I didn't get into it until the time before, I'm tempted to say time, before G2 started, like just when it was announced.
Okay,
So, yeah.
all right. And in that case, the last question from Krexa is: do you prefer Generation 1 or 2, and why?
Generation 2. Just Generation 2. Not
Okay.
only do I know more about it, I also find it more free to like express my own ideas about it. And I mentioned this earlier, but it's easier to fill in the blanks that G2 purposefully leaves open. And that's what I really like about it. So, yeah.
All right, fantastic. In that case, those are all of Crex's questions. So thank you very much for emailing those. I always appreciate it
Mm-hmm.
when people email questions in because it's very easy to kind of keep them all. They're all in one place, so it's very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so a few questions from the YouTube live chat. In that case, all right. First one is from the Aura Master Nui, who asks Lena, "Why is your name Leon Exists?"
Oh, yes. There's a fun story about that, actually. So, earlier my Discord name was Leena, but I was in a voice chat talking, and one of the guys who was in the voice chat, um, we had a good time and stuff, and then a day later, then in text chat, he was saying, "Hey, is Lena a girl? I'm not sure, but is she?" And I sarcastically responded with, "No, I'm a prepubescent male," and it was like, "What? Are you actually?" And I was laughing so hard. And the thing is, everybody else in the server was totally in on the joke. And so I changed my Discord name to Leon, but that name was taken by too many people, so I changed it to Leon Exists. And now whenever
Okay.
he calls me Lena, then I act super offended, and so does everyone else. So now, I mean, at this point, he's just calling me Leon now, which I find hilarious.
I see. Okay, that's kind of fun, pulling the wool over his eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah, it does.
All right, next question is from Ulti. Why do you hate women? No. uh, we'll move on to the next one because Ulti's funny, but thank you, Ulti.
That's so...
All right, next question is from Tesla Effect, who asks, "Have you ever eaten a mangosteen?"
Boy, I wish.
Well, maybe if you were at Brick Fair last year, you could have.
I was! But then I had to leave because I was feeling nauseous or something like that.
Wait, what day?
It was last year.
Yeah, no, I mean, which day?
Saturday.
That explains it. Okay,
Yeah.
because, wait, yep. Wait, what did we do? No, no. Okay, got it. Fair enough. All right, I didn't have the mangosteen with me then, because me, Envy, and Matora, we went to Maryland and got 2 full bags of mangosteen on Sunday, and I brought them back, and I just handing them out. Here, you want to try one? Try one. Try mangosteen. So, fair enough. Are you going to go next year? This year. Fudge. This year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I am definitely going to breakfast next.
Okay.
Yeah. This year.
Excellent. In that case, if you're going then, I will have even more mangosteen. You can try one at that point.
Yes.
And I'll try and bring my pocket knife, because I usually carry a pocket knife, but I don't travel with it, because it's just a hassle. But I'll try it anyway this time. You have to put in checked luggage, and you have to get like a case for it and say, hey, I have a knife in there. So that way I can cut the mangosteen open for everyone instead of spending half a day waiting for a knife so I can finally eat my delicious mangosteen. That wasn't fun.
Yeah. The problem is, mangosteen starts with mango, so I'm just until I taste one, I'm assuming they just taste like mangoes.
Prepare to be surprised.
Oh no.
They taste nothing like
I
mangoes.
mean, they sound like they taste like mangoes, but they look like they taste like rutabaga.
I have never had that, so I have no idea.
It's basically like a turnip except less bitter, more sweet.
Yeah, no, still got no frame of reference, but I
Hmm.
you'll have to find out.
Okay.
Like 5 months.
Yes.
All
Wait,
right,
it's actually 5 months away?
roughly, give or take, because it's
Well, yeah,
in
but it's
July, August.
whew, that's actually like way closer than I was actually expecting.
March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, about 5ish. Wow. All right. Next question is from Lord Pterodax. What are your thoughts on Slicers and Throwbots? Or.
I've heard of those. They came before Bionicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have heard of those, though I don't know that much about them. All I know is that they came before Bionicle, and they look pretty cool, but that's all I know about them. I'm sorry.
Okay. Fair enough. They are the predecessor to Bionicle. They are actually the first construction line Lego
Oh wow,
produced.
that is cool.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. For the record, I like them. I think they're neat. I don't own any, but I want to do a review series on them. I want to make an entire, like a full review series. I wouldn't be the first. Jang already has one, but I digress. All right. Next question is from Tesla Effect. Does fan art sometimes influence your written fan fiction?
Um, that's a really good question. Usually it's my own fan art.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
Yeah. I think there's been like one little piece of I think it's when I don't remember the artist or the exact thing, but there's art of this. Wait, it might have been by VAR actually. It's a piece of G2 art where Umarak is on a Toa killing spree, and in the picture he's about to kill Tahu, and Gali's dead in the background.
Oh, yep. That was Var.
Um, oh yeah, huh.
Yeah, that was him.
How about that? Um, yeah, that has influenced me to start writing a thing, and I'm not gonna say anything too giving away because I haven't released it yet, but it does get kind of dark,
Well, the
and it
picture is
does
admittedly
involve.
pretty dark.
It is, but I don't know why, but I just really like it for some reason because I'm not used to G2 being dark. And
Mm-hmm.
funny story about that actually. When I first saw the piece, I was like, "Oh wow, that's dark," and I was like looking over the art style, and I hadn't seen Gali until like the last minute, and then when I saw it, I like actually jumped back, and I was like, "Oh, no."
Let me see if I can find that real quick. I think here we go. Yeah, he does have a portfolio. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Bingo. The final
I actually got
hunt.
to download it.
Here we go. I'll just drag this spud puppy over. Here we go. So yeah, this is from VAR.
Yeah.
This is the artwork itself. I'll just go ahead and leave that up. But alright, so you are working on a project pertaining to this.
Yeah, except I haven't included Tahu yet. I might. I'm not sure, but maybe not. We'll see in the future. I've written over 50 pages, but that's handwritten, and three handwritten pages equals one digital page. So, eh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Fair enough. Alright. Let me see here. Genericon asks, what were your thoughts on TTV's Brickonicle theme?
Huh. I'm gonna be honest. At first, I really liked it. Then I really didn't like it. Then I didn't care. Okay, so first I was like, "Oh, hey, they're making a G3. I really love this." Then I was disappointed when I realized it was going to be a system theme, and then I got even more disappointed when I realized Liwa was going to be a girl, and I was just like, "What? Is that Shiwa?
I
It's
knew
not
it.
my Liwa."
See, there we go. You do hate women. I knew it. Reinforcing it. Unacceptable. Maybe we need to end this right here before you sink your reputation any further. No. Okay. But yeah, now that seems to be a fairly popular consensus outside the TTV fan base. So, fair enough.
Yeah, now I'm kind of passive or impassive, whatever the word is. Yeah, I don't really care about it anymore, but I do like the art for the animated art style potentially for it. And if I'd be totally down for watching a series like that, and I might even be able to accept the fact that Lee was a girl, so long as like it's 2D animated, because I've seen very few Bionicle series that are actually animated like that, and it'd be really cool to actually see that.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yeah. I wasn't involved in the animated side of things, so I have a very, very limited frame of reference. So, okay, next question. Kirian asks, what is your least favorite story you've seen/read, professional or otherwise?
Okay, so this does include fan fiction.
Yeah, so basically just anything.
Oh boy. Let's see. There was this one fan fiction. I don't remember who it's from, but I don't want to start a witch hunt, so it's better that I don't tell you, even if I do remember. There's this one person. Okay, so the main character is an OC. It's already terrible. No, not actually, but it's a crossover between Bionicle and Transformers. And the OC is very, very obviously a self-insert, and everybody treats her like a princess, and there's this one scene where she like kisses the person or the Transformer who's very obviously the author has a crush on, because she always writes him as a calm, soothing voice, and his slender armor or whatever, something like that. And overall, the story's really sloppy, and it turns out that, oh, she was half Toa all along, and what? Where'd that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm ranting at this point.
No, that's fine. I just had to sit here and snicker just a little bit. Ulti, who continues to be hilarious, came in with, wait, how did Leena find my fanfic? It's not his, but he's... Gosh dang it. Oh, man. That's amazing. But yeah, no, that doesn't sound like a good time.
Yeah, it was not a good time. That every chapter ended at a cliffhanger, so I was like forced to read through the entire thing.
Ugh.
And it ended up with a main character ex machina.
Of course.
All the Toa get beaten up, and all the Transformers get beaten up, and then it turns out she's also half Transformers, so she beats up the bad guy with showing no mercy whatsoever. And it turns out that everybody was happy. Everybody got back to their own dimension. And yeah, everybody lived happily ever after, especially the main character who ended up marrying that guy that the author had a crush on, or something like that.
Of course.
I don't remember it that much anymore, but I'm glad I don't.
Bow tie ending. Oh, jeez. All right.
Yeah.
Let me see. We're almost done with the questions, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up. This next question is from Tesla Effect, who asks me specifically, LJ, did you know there was an entire Pokemon evolution line inspired by the mangosteen plant and fruit? Yes. I can't tell you how many messages I got when it first was revealed. It was just a tsunami of notifications going, LJ, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see Bon Sweet, LJ? Now, full disclosure, I'm not a Pokemon guy. I can't envision myself ever being a Pokemon guy. I'm a Digimon guy. That's where I lie.
Digimon are the champions.
Yes, see, exactly. But the mangosteen Pokemon is cool. So, but yes, I'm very, very aware of it. All right. Next question is also from Tesla Effect. If you could ever write something officially, for which franchise would you do it for?
Um, hmm. I'm gonna say Bionicle again because it's basically the only fandom I'm good at writing in. I tried doing one for Foils War at some point, but I based it entirely off of character interaction, and the plot never went anywhere. This is why I'm not good at writing mysteries. Ah,
Okay.
yeah,
Fair enough. Okay.
but yeah, if I could write anything it and make it canon, it would be Bionicle G2 because Bionicle G2 people.
Fair enough. All right. In that case, we're going to go with two more questions. This next one is from Cupic, who asks, "Could you talk to her about her music?"
Oh yeah.
I did not know you did music.
Yeah, I do. I have a SoundCloud page. Yeah, I've been doing music and stuff for actually ever since I was like 12 or something. But I actually got serious about it at around either last 2 years ago. There we go. Um, I've actually gotten a sort of job at Red Star Games, being able to compose music for it, and being there has actually really seriously improved my composing ability since I'm around other composers and they can tell me what sounds good and what doesn't. So I'm really happy that's been a part of my life.
Okay. All right. I kind of knew you were part of RSG, but I didn't really know. So I didn't realize that you were part of the musical composition.
Yeah.
So I actually I had Meerkat on. I think was that last week? No, no, it was a couple weeks
2 weeks
ago.
ago, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Alright.
he was talking about that. So that's awesome.
Huh. Nice.
All right. In that case, last question. This is an actual serious one from Ulti. uh, do you make mocks? And if so, could you tell us a little bit about your favorite one that you've made?
Oh boy. I don't think I've. Well, I don't really like doing mocks, but when I do, I tend to be really perfectionistic about them, which is actually the reason why I don't like making mocks, because I end up totally wearing myself out about them
Mm-hmm.
with them. I think my favorite one that I've made is there was this one mock I made, which was a really huge design of uh, it had Onua's mask, but I tried to make the torso really over complicated, and I ended up making him around 1.5 times the size of the original Onua set. So I'm kind of happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, he appears very briefly in my video called "A Great Deal of Confusion." If you want to see him, because I have not taken any pictures of him.
Okay.
So yeah, if he exists, then he exists.
Okay. Fair enough. I can't show a picture, as she just said she doesn't have any, and I don't have the video on hand, so I can't throw that on screen. So sorry.
Yeah. So if you want to see it, just go over to my channel and search up "A Great Deal of Confusion," and it should appear there.
Fantastic. All right.
Yay.
In that case, I think that's everything for today. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. But first, Leena, the final actual question is: are there any social media accounts you would like people to follow you at, and are there any other things you would like people to be aware of?
Hmm. Well, uh, I have a Google Plus account, though that's going away. So I alternately have a Goggle Plus Plus account. Yes, that does exist.
Oh no.
I also have a Discord account, obviously, and a what's it called? Oh, right. I also have a YouTube channel, SoundCloud, and I'm planning on getting a Twitter account later. So once I get it, then just search Leena Valtapaz, and it should appear. So yeah, and
Okay.
if you want to be more aware of the stuff I do, then you can stalk me on those things. I do writing, music stuff. I sometimes do art stuff, which is, I'm sort of a one man army or something like that. I said one in arm. Well,
Okay. All right, fair enough. In that case, there will be as many links to those in the description as possible. So to the SoundCloud, YouTube, and anything else. So definitely go ahead and check those all out. All right, well, Leena, thank you so very much for taking the time today. And again, my sincerest apologies for the hiccup earlier today and the time rescheduling.
no problem, no problem.
Fantastic. In that case, you're always welcome to be on once again if there's anything else you want to discuss, any more writing or voice work. So, all right. In that case, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you to everyone who has listened in today. Hopefully you had a good time. Make sure you join in any of the discussions happening in the comments below. Unless YouTube takes them away, which I really hope they don't. Please don't do that, YouTube. Thank you. All right. Thank you also very much for listening. This has been yet another episode of The Eljay Johnsen Show. The show airs every single Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless specified otherwise, over on Twitter, at The Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Tuesday. Otherwise, you can head on over to my email, ljjohnson@gmail.com, where you can ask me any questions over the week and any questions to the guest, which will be asked during the episode toward the end. Remember, that's JOHNSEN. All right, nailed it. Made up for earlier. We're going to go ahead and take off. Thank you so very much for listening. We'll see you all next week. Have a great day.
Bye.